All right, I am not all too sure what happened with the live stream, but hopefully, hopefully this works out. Hopefully we're back. I don't know what happened with my computer just kind of crapped out for a second. But we are going to get into the interview. I'm gonna let some people come in. We'll talk a little bit more, but I am gonna get into the interview, and I want to answer a couple of the questions that I missed when I don't know what happened to my channel, but hopefully it doesn't happen again. So let me get back to that one real quick, and then we will get into the interview because there was some good talk in there. So Jay Koch was saying that we got the top two duo in corners in the league. Just trust them. I agree. I feel like when you look at this Dallas team, when you look at this Eagles team, excuse me, there was a comment talking about Dallas right after that. But when you look at this Eagles team, we have the weapons to go out there and just win. That's all you have to worry about. Go out there and play your type of game in this game. If the Super Bowl comes and because we don't really know what we're going to get into when we play the Bengals, when we play Kansas City. Obviously, we have, tape on them, but we've never played them. So we don't know necessarily how they're going to try and attack us. So, but with this team, I feel like we've seen enough teams. Like, I feel like the Dallas game you can really look at and kind of take some tape from that and learn a lot from that. So that's what I'm feeling about that. We got some more people in the chat. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Mon said Zeke is a left guard. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Dak's due $50 million next year. $50 million for a slightly above cut. Yeah, that is pretty high. That is actually pretty high. The Cowboys, damn, y'all mad. Y'all are mad. Still, we gotta leave the Cowboys alone, man. We gotta leave the Cowboys alone. I'm kidding. Don't do it. Don't leave them alone. Keep this energy. I like this energy. Lonely B said we're back. Yeah, we back. Is BGJ alive? He's fine. He's kicking. He's chilling. He's gonna come on. I think we're gonna do our show Thursday. I think we were saying. So he'll be here. He'll be eating crow. It is what it is. What's going on, Jinx Wolf? What's going on? What's going on, Jorge? Haven't seen him. Look. I know it's tough for Cowboys fans right now, so we gotta cut up a little bit of slack. No, actually, don't cut them no slack. I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't cut them zero slack. Zero slack. But let's get into this interview, man, because this was a very good one. I'm sure people are going to be coming in as it goes. So I hope you guys enjoy this. This was with my guy, Jason Aponte. Shout out to him. So let's get into it. What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. So today we have a very special guest. I'll say that for now. I'll be nice today. But no, we got my guy Jason Aponte bags here to talk some 49ers and to talk, just about this championship game. But Jason, what's going on, brother? How you been, man?
I'm great, Joe. Thank you for having me, man. I'm excited to preview this weekend. Looking to make my way down to Philly this weekend as well too. So it's just a beautiful time. I think it's amazing that we have for a few times, the number one and number two best teams in the NFC actually meet up for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. So I think it kind of worked out the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, there's a faction of NFL fans that probably didn't think this was how it was supposed to work out. And you guys took that faction out. So we'll start there. We'll start with the congratulatory. Good job on taking those Cowboys out. That's exactly what the Eagles wanted. Another year. There's a lot of Cowboys fans who have never seen a conference championship, and that will continue. So talk to me first. We'll start there. Talk to me about that win. And just what you saw from your team and what you saw from, I guess we can call the Cowboys a team, but it is choke artists at this point. But talk to me about that win.
Joe, when the Cowboys lose, America wins. As much as everybody wants to say that this is America's team, they are not. They are just one fraction of fan base like that roots for them. 31 other teams absolutely despise the Dallas Cowboys. And the reason that I know this is because I'm a Yankee fan. And I know the same sentiment. As a Yankee fan, you either hate them or love them. There's no in between. There's nobody that sits there and says, I'm indifferent with the Yankees. Same goes with the Cowboys, right? And then the funny joke is most Cowboys fans are Yankee fans, and they're all a bunch of front runners, whatever. We'll leave that for. But, yeah, look, in terms of this, right, I'm an 80s baby. This is the team I hate the most for obvious reasons because they just are who they are, and their fan base is exorbitantly obnoxious. But this team stopped my team many years when I was a child. 92, 93. Finally, the 49ers break through in 94. There was a big lull in the rivalry. Terrell Owens runs to the star. That wasn't a playoff game, but the 49ers wound up winning that game. They were blowing Dallas out at that point. And then obviously Dallas had trouble making games, and the 49ers were not in the playoffs at the same time. So back-to-back years to eliminate the Dallas Cowboys is pretty sweet, man. I've got to admit, pretty sweet. And it's funny. 28 years the Dallas Cowboys have not been to an NFC championship. And for some reason, this stat is still mind-boggling to me because it doesn't even sound real. But in 12 seasons, the 49ers have been to 6 NFC championship games. I still don't know how to make sense of that myself because it doesn't seem that way. It seems like it was a quick run with Harbaugh, a long drought, and then now what we have with Shanahan. But 6 out of 12, man, like there's a clear divide in where the two teams are going. But I think it's pretty funny to dance on the Cowboys' grave, and I'm still going to be petty. It's Tuesday. I haven't exactly turned the page onto Philly yet, but I'm here to do that. But I am here to make fun of the Cowboys because I think it's hilarious, and I think we all agree that it's hilarious.
Trust me, you picked the exact perfect show to come and talk about the game. If we had a star here, I would do the Terrell Owens. I promise you that.
Yes.
No, look. The 49ers, you said it. They have been at the ship a lot these past decade plus. And it's always been in different ways. Some years you guys are dominating. Some years like this year, you guys just figure it out mid-season and just go on a crazy streak. You guys are on, I think, your 12th win in a row.
Yes.
It's no matter who you play, no matter who's on your schedule, that's hard to do. To win that many games in a row is hard to do. So I want to ask you, obviously you had the quarterback change in that, but what is what is behind this Niners streak? How did you guys get this hot, and how were you able to kind of sustain that?
I think it was the Christian McCaffrey trade. I mean, even when you look at Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback, right? In every single game that Christian McCaffrey has been fully implemented, I don't count that Kansas City game because he only played a certain amount of snaps. And when he was on the field, his impact was evident. Every game, this offense has taken a step up. This offense literally went from only scoring a certain amount of points to now, obviously not this week, but 30 plus in almost every single Brock Purdy start. So I think it starts with Christian McCaffrey. But the Brock Purdy thing is very real. I was at training camp, and I will tell you this, Joe. I wasn't the highest on Brock Purdy. That wasn't the guy. The guy that you're watching now is not the guy that I saw at training camp. And I don't care who says what about what they saw and what they think about the kid. Like, obviously right now my takes on him don't look exactly the best because he would have 3 and 4 and 5 reps, and it was like, get it back to Trey Lance. We need to see more of Trey. But it does have a lot to do with Brock Purdy, and it kind of shows in the way that Kyle Shanahan has been calling his games. When you look at certain aspects, last week against the Cowboys at the end of the half, that kind of felt like a moment where if Jimmy Garoppolo was there, they would kind of run the ball and just said, you know what, we're just going to go to the half. You know what? They came out firing and throwing the ball, right? Like even in that last drive where they were icing the game, you would think, okay, run. First place to throw to George Kittle. First place to throw to George Kittle. There's something about what this kid is doing, and you can see it with the numbers. You can see it. He's just more decisive with the football. He takes the shots that are in the offense that have been there for Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not so quick to just immediately bail on the play. It has a lot to do with Brock Purdy, but it has a ton to do with Christian McCaffrey, and that trade looks like one of the most marvelous in-season deals I think we've ever seen in history.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey, I think you guys, like you said, you lost that first game and just have been on a tear ever since. And Brock Purdy has been a very interesting quarterback. I mean, you talk about not necessarily being all the way in. I wasn't necessarily all the way in on Jalen Hurts after last season. Obviously, that Tampa Bay game was just atrocious. But you look at the talent that they add, you look at the talent that you guys have, and I think it proves a point to the NFL that, yes, quarterback matters. Quarterback play is very important. But if you can put players in the position to win, you'll usually get a pretty good result. Now, obviously, your defense is incredible, right? You guys have a very, very good front seven, a pretty decent secondary. A lot of people tell me that that's probably the weakest part, but I don't think that's really saying much. I mean, your defense is very good. So, but I want to ask you, you look at this defense. Is the secondary the weakness in your opinion? Is that where you think the Eagles, when they're game planning it up, is that where they want to attack come Sunday?
Joe, absolutely, man. I mean, when you look around at this team, right, and this is no slight at the other guys. Like, a lot of people think that when I do analysis of the 49ers that I'm picking on the secondary. But let's take a look at this team. Nick Bosa is the defensive player of the year. The defensive line is an obvious strength. Now you've got Eric Armstead coming back. Mooney Ward is locked down on one side. And you've got Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. Where else are you supposed to try to attack this team? Would you go at the guys that are elite? No. I mean, so Diamador Lenore, Tashawn Gibson, Talanoa Hufanga, who's an all-pro, Pro Bowler. Yes, those are the spots where you would attack them. Again, like, if you're an offensive coordinator, your game plan isn't let's attack Fred Warner, let's attack Dre Greenlaw, let's attack this defensive line. No, like that's not where you would go. So yes, I it's been evident, right? I think you kind of saw the last few weeks. Devontae Adams had a great game. DK Metcalf had a great game. CD Lamb had a great game. You know what? Those are great players, and I think AJ Brown and Devonta Smith present similar challenges, and that's the thing is it's about what you guys have, and it's about what the 49ers at this point would be more like. Where would you more likely attack? It would be them. And again, it's no slight at any of those guys. It's just that those other guys that I mentioned are so elite, so good that you've got to attack somewhere, and it just happens to be guys that aren't actually elite. So it's not really a big deal, but yes, it would actually be the secondary 100%.
Yeah, and you bring up Fred Warner, and I'm glad that you do, because somebody asked me the other day, which was like, I think a pretty good question. It was like, do you think that the linebacking position in general is changing or maybe getting phased out? And then you look at a guy like Fred Warner, and it's just, he's such a beast. He's probably one of the best, if not the best at his position. And you say, you said something that makes a lot of sense on paper, is that we wouldn't want to attack them. But the Eagles, our offense, and there's probably gonna be people that disagree here, but I feel our offense starts at that line of scrimmage. You look at our run game, we're going to try and make your defensive linemen, your linebackers, make decisions and put them in bad positions. You guys have some very smart guys. How, if there's anything you've seen with a Fred Warner with your front seven, are they a little bit too aggressive? Are they a little, are they susceptible to maybe some double moves, to maybe some, misdirection? Is that something that the Eagles can maybe tap into? Because that is a big part of their offense. Or if you see the Eagles start doing some misdirection, try and get cute like that, are you sitting back being like, you're playing into our hands?
Well, the defensive line is very aggressive, and I think that really more speaks to what I'm afraid of is Jalen Hurts making things happen with his legs. In terms of the running game, I think the pursuit is great. The 49ers are fast. If there is a concern in someone who's overly aggressive, it's Dre Greenlaw. I think you kind of saw in this past game, he had a penalty that was 15 yards, hit a little too hard. That was something that he was dealing with early on in the year. Missed a few tackles, was out of position. I would say that was one of Dre Greenlaw's worst games of the year last week. In terms of the defensive line, they're going to be aggressive. Running the wide nine, sometimes they can collapse the pocket, but then it opens up the middle of the field, and they may rush 4 and drop 7, and now all of a sudden Jalen Hurts gets the boogie. I think that's the running game is what it is. I do think the 49ers have enough to slow down Miles Sanders if you want to traditionally run the ball. But if you are talking about what really puts pressure on the 49ers, it has to start with Jalen Hurts and what he can do. And not just the design runs on zone reads, the off-script stuff. Like, if he can just find a little seam and he can hurt us with his legs, Dak Prescott's not one of those guys that would do that. He did it, I think it was 1 play, maybe 2 plays, but he primarily wants to win from the pocket. And Jalen Hurts, what makes him so dangerous is he wants to beat you from the pocket, but his running ability is so, like, it's not even underutilized or it's not underrated. It's so good because he knows when to get down. He knows when to take his chances. That's the scariest part for me. So this defensive line has a tendency to be aggressive, collapse the pocket. But if you don't keep contained, if you are allowing rushing lanes up the middle, Jalen Hurts is going to hurt you. And it has to be the number one thing that's on 49er fans and DeMeco Ryans' mind.
Yeah, I mean, 11-on-11 football. Excuse me. That's really what it comes down to. We have to, like you said, utilize Jalen Hurts as another player. You can't ever really take a play off. We have to keep your defense honest, and that's very, very true. Now, I think the Eagles and the 49ers kind of sit in a similar throne. We are here, right? We are the 1 and 2 team. We are probably, in my opinion, the best 2 teams in the NFC, right? We've made it to that point. But there's a lot of people that doubt not only us, but our schedule, right? You look at the Niners schedule, and a lot of people say, who have you beaten, right? But you guys now have beaten an elite defense. No matter how much I hate the Cowboys, they do have a very good defense. And now you're going against another one. Do you think that Brock Purdy has it in him to realistically go, because last game wasn't the most beautiful as far as offense goes, but do you think he has it in him to go out there and play an elite defense? Or are you looking at your defense and saying, this is probably going to be a game you have to win for us?
This is the biggest test. This Philly game, I'm not going to lie, I have been kind of still focusing on this Dallas game because I don't want to focus on this game just yet on Tuesday at 11:43 Eastern. Philadelphia has no holes. They don't have holes. Defensive line, if we're talking about how Dallas played last week, how fast they are in generating pressure, well, the Eagles get more sacks than anybody. That's the problem. And the one thing that everybody points to is, well, they kind of give it up on the ground. That was when Jordan Davis went out. That has kind of been shored up a little bit as well, too. So that is not even something. I don't see where the holes are. When you look at James Bradbury and you look at Darius Slay, I still don't understand what the New York Giants were doing by letting that man just walk, and then not like letting him walk. Just sign with you guys. So I mean, I understand you're trying to save money. My goodness, James Bradbury's a baller, and then when you add him with Darius Slay, you are looking at a team right now. I don't know where the weakness is at this point. I really don't. If this is going to be a game where Kyle wants to try to pick on linebackers, I guess I'm starting to look at this game the way that I looked at the end of that game, in which, yes, the defense is going to have to play similarly. Yes, the offense is going to look similar to the way that they did last week because this is a better defense than Dallas. This is a team that presents more of a challenge. The one thing that you have to be impressed with Brock Purdy is the one thing that Jimmy Garoppolo could not ever do in a playoff game is turn the ball over, and he did not. Now, if you are talking about the way that the 49ers defense played last week, on top of Brock Purdy being able to not turn the ball over and taking advantage, when you win the turnover battle, when you're up 2-1 in the turnover battle and you're getting advantageous, even if it turns into a field goal, advantageous field positions, that's when you start to win these games. But if Philly doesn't turn the ball over, Philly's able to sustain drives with Jalen Hurts and his legs, whether they turn into 7 or 3, you still have to be wary of the fact that the 49ers may not be able to move the ball and look at this game and say, that's kind of similar to what's going to happen. This is me giving credit to the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't care what the schedule says. I look at personnel. I look at the way you guys have been playing. You can only play who's in front of you. And it's funny that people want to bring up your schedule when literally all 4 teams in the NFC East had a chance to make the playoffs. I don't understand the thought process when you talk about this. I think it's more people wanting to take shots at the quarterback who has been incredible. And for me, I think he locked up the MVP when he left because everybody said, oh, well, Gardner Minshew could just win a bunch of games. You sure? Are you sure? The secret sauce might have been number 1. So when you look at the way that the 49ers are constructed, yes, they have a ton of weapons. Stylistically, the Eagles give every single team fits. And if you look at the way Dallas was able to put pressure on this offensive line, I don't suspect that that's going to change in this game. And the 49ers are going to have to find ways to make adjustments with that, man. It's just the Eagles have no holes. They just have no holes.
Yeah, and going into this game, going into last game, we had 21 of 22 starters, which was the healthiest we've been since I think like week 7, week 8, something like that. So we're coming into the playoffs as healthy as we've ever been, and we might even get a little bit healthier. We're waiting to hear what's happening with Aponte Maddox. You talk about the middle of the field for you guys. That could be a definite weakness for us. If Aponte Maddox isn't back, we may have to bring Chauncey Gardner down to that slot position. And you're looking at 2 young safeties. So if you're going over the middle with George Kittle and you're targeting a safety, you're probably going to have some good success there. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully Avonte Maddox is back, but we'll see what happens. Now, talking about injuries, talking about health, this may be, now I never wish anybody injury, but this may be maybe a little optimistic brain here, but it looked like Christian McCaffrey was a little hobbled or maybe a little limited towards the end of that Dallas Cowboys game. Am I reading too much into that, or is that something that we should be maybe keeping an eye on come this week?
No, he had a calf issue. Kyle Shanahan spoke about it after the game, but everybody seemed to make it out of the game fine. I mean, Christian McCaffrey finished the game. Elijah Mitchell was running effectively. I do think that's a little bit why you kind of saw him at the end of that game more than you saw McCaffrey. Sure, the injury probably has something to do with it, but I don't suspect that that's going to slow him down. I think McCaffrey's going to be fine. McCaffrey's one of those guys. Just get him to Sunday. It doesn't really matter. Like, he doesn't have to practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, none of that. Like, just get him to Sunday. So I don't think there's going to be any issue when it comes to that.
Yeah, even see because the reason why I bring that up because I think there was a drive towards the end where he was only coming out on third down, and I'm like, even on third down, he's making like the most important catch. Doesn't play the whole series, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh my god, Chris, he's something different. Now,
Mhm.
staying on that Cowboys game just a little bit, I want to ask one more question about that. Obviously, like you said, the 49ers offense was on a tear going into that game, only able to put up 19 points, but it is a very good defense. Fan wise, just your perspective wise, I guess, are you are you does that win make you feel motivated about this team, or does that scare you a little bit about this offense? And maybe now that you are going against again a good defense, maybe does it worry you a little bit how you won the game, or are you just sitting here saying, hey, a win is a win, now you work for the next guys?
Joe, I'm a naturally optimistic guy. Show me the glass and it's always half full. I understand how hard it is to win games in the NFL. And I think those type of games that you grit out say more about your team than when you win 35-7 against some team, because that's not typical in the NFL. It's not typical in the playoffs. And that was a very good win, encouraging in my eyes, because now I am sitting here looking at my team saying, you know what? You've shown that you can win every single way. You want to shoot out? We can shoot it out. You want us to blow you out? We can blow you out. You want us to win games when things aren't going well and we find a way to grit it out? That's how you're normally going to win games in the playoffs. I suspect that this game is going to be in the same lane. And that's what I kind of needed to see from the youngster. I needed to see adversity. I needed to see, guys weren't running wide open, with 10 yards of grass in front of them, right? Like, I need to see you have all that pressure on you. For all the pressure that he took, I believe PFF had him with 15 direct pressures, 2 sacks only from the kid. Sure, there was times where you watch the game and you're just like, yeah, that's a rookie, especially towards the end of the first half when he held the ball a little too long before he threw it out of bounds. I'm like screaming at the TV, just throw it away, But he's a rookie. But that's more typical than winning a game 35-7. That's not going to happen in the playoffs. Blowing out Seattle in the wild card week, which was excellent, screw the Seattle Seahawks, is excellent, but that's not typical. And as the competition grows, that's what you can expect more, especially from a defense like the Eagles. So I am far more encouraged by a victory like that than I am something of, obviously you want to blow out, and a blowout make you seem like, oh, wow, you just blew out this defense. But you need to find different ways to win games, and that's how tough the NFL is. That's how well Dallas played. That's how well I expect Philly to play this week.
Yeah, look, I think that's a perfect answer because I think more and more that I hear you talk, like I said, I don't literally watch the 49ers every game. And, realistically, I've just started kind of really paying attention to what you are and what you do over the past couple of weeks because we might have had this conversation. But hearing you talk about your 49ers team, it sounds like me talking about my Eagles team. We are sitting in such a very similar situation. We're mirroring each other. So it's the same questions, the same answers, the same type of games. We've done a lot of things similar throughout this season, and it's impressive actually because this is one of the better matchups I think that we're gonna see maybe of all season. So I'm excited for this one. This is the question I gotta ask, man. Who are we not talking about? Because I feel like every week there's that one person, whether it's against my team or for my team, that nobody really thought was going to have a huge game and they come out of nowhere. Is there a guy on the Niners team that you're sitting here saying, I'm not going to tell Joe about this because, I don't want him to be too prepared? Is there a guy that might kind of come out of nowhere for the Niners and make a big impact on this game?
Well, for the offense, it would be Jawan Jennings, and that would be on third down. I mean, we literally call him third and Jawan, and he may not even have a big stat, box, like, right? He might have 3 catches for 36 yards, but it's situationally, right? And on third down, if it's 3rd and 7, can you get 7 from Jawan Jennings when everybody's looking at Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, right? Like, he seems to be the guy that not only does the dirty work with the blocking, but does make those plays on third down. I mean, we literally call him third and Jawan. Last year, he had an insane stat, I think, where he had 42 catches, 22 of them were either on third down or in the red zone. Literally, this is the guy that Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy, all these guys look at on third down. So Jawan Jennings is somebody that does the dirty work, blocks, but on third down, man, if he gets the tough yards, he's a guy that can keep a drive going, even if the touchdown ends up being somewhere else or something like that, and he only has 1 catch on the drive, that's still a huge impact. So I think it's Jawan Jennings on offense.
All right, so we're gonna keep our eye out for him. Now, I got
Hey,
2 more
don't tell
questions.
anybody. Hey, his
Yeah, no,
number,
I'm
his
telling
number,
everybody. We're
no, his
clipping
number,
that.
No, his number is 28. That's his number. His number is 28, and he's a left tackle. He doesn't even play
He's
offense.
offensive. No, I got two more questions for you, brother. Then I'll let you get out of here. But we said it earlier, right? It's not necessarily always the biggest, names that make these matchups, that make these games what they are, or even decide the game, right? So to me, it's more so about the matchups. Our offense, matching up against your defense against our offense.
Mm-hmm.
What matchup, if you had to pick, right? If you're going into this game and saying, if this side of the ball can win, we can win. What side of the ball are you looking at and saying you have to win your matchup for us to go ahead and win this game?
It's offensive line. And I think that's almost an evergreen statement for any game. If your offensive line can't block against anybody, then you're not going to be able to sustain offense. What you saw in the Dallas game was Dallas came out fast and they gave the offensive line problems. What happened was the 49ers physicality wore them down. As much as Dallas wants to tell you they're physical, they'll come out for a little while to be physical. They are not like that for 60 minutes, right? Like that's where you kind of see the difference. Philly's like that. And that's the thing, is it's not the same thing at all. Look, all week, if I'm against the Dallas Cowboys, I think we follow each other, Joe. I've been talking that shit. I don't care. I know what my team can do against the Dallas Cowboys. I know what my team is really about. This game scares me far worse because of what you guys are on the defensive side of the ball. If the 49ers cannot win at the point of contact, at the line of scrimmage, they are in for a long day. They can't run the ball, then you're going to allow Brock Purdy to be under pressure. You guys have ball hawks in the secondary. All of this stuff lines up in the wrong way for the 49ers. That's why I am so nervous about this game. This game worries me the most. Not Seattle, not Dallas. And, even if the Giants were here, I'd kind of be laughing at them as well, too. But you guys present so many problems. It has to start with the offensive line, because if you can't win there, then nothing works. And I think that's almost a statement that you can make in any game against any opponent.
Yeah, and I like to hear that. This is going to be interesting, because I think against Dallas, we wanted to play them. I don't think that we were really afraid of Dallas. It was like, we want to just shut you up, right? Yep. Against the 49ers, we as Eagles fans, I think I speak for a lot of people, we don't really know what we're getting into. We see what we see. We understand, where your strengths and weaknesses are to a certain extent, but we don't play you guys that often. This is not, I think the last time I can remember really beating you guys was the first time me and you were ever, doing a show together. Mm-hmm. And that was years ago. So it's like, it's been a while since we've played each other. Obviously, totally different teams since then. So it's going to be interesting, this matchup. I'm excited. I am nervous as well. I think this is going to be a knock 'em out, drag 'em out type game. But I think that's what you want going into the Super Bowl. You're not going to know what you're going to get against the Bengals. You're not going to know what you're going to get against the Kansas City Chiefs for, all intents and purposes. So this is a good, barometer. This is a good meter just to test where you are, just a good gut check, I guess. Now I do have one more question. Like I said, my boy does follow you. So, I'm going to give him the floor for a second. And he wanted me to ask you, he said, ask him if he believes Mooney Ward is going to come out of his shell this week and play a true CB1 type of game. Last few weeks, he's been picked on by opposing quarterbacks and has given up some big plays. So what do you think about that?
Well, first of all, shout out to your friend. I appreciate him enjoying the content and watching me, man. It means a ton. That's something I don't take lightly. So I appreciate him for that, man. And, as always, go Niners. But if you look at last week, Mooney Ward allowed one catch. And he doesn't follow. I think this is the frustration of 49er fans, is that he doesn't follow wide receiver ones. He just plays his side of the field. And I think that's more a testament of what D'Amico wants from his defense, right? Like he just doesn't put him in positions where he has to follow. I do think that game was a bit of a one-off, the DK Metcalf game. When you look at 12 quarters of football, because that was the third time that they played the Seattle Seahawks, 12 quarters of football, trying to contain DK Metcalf for 12 quarters, let alone 8, I don't know how you do it. And obviously, Seattle did a great job of game planning, and they saw some things on film that they could take advantage of with Mooney Ward, deep shots. Obviously, that no one's going to be over the top on Mooney Ward because he is a cover corner type of guy. You don't need to give him help. So Seattle saw that, and they took advantage. And you know what else? DK Metcalf is really good at football. He is a really good player. That's another thing. And that was just 1 week, though. Other than that, Mooney has been great. That's probably the most low-key, underrated free agent acquisition this entire offseason that nobody was talking about. So when you look at last week, he only allowed one catch. And they tried him down the field on the Michael Gallup throw. He breaks that up. Maybe a better throw from Dak is a completion, whatever. Mooney made a play. But I do think that Mooney is getting back to it. Mooney is going to need to be that because one way or another, he's going to be lined up against Devonta Smith or A.J. Brown. And if we need to set our defense to one thing, we need to set our watch to the fact that Mooney is not going to give up big plays. And if we can do that, then you at least eliminate one portion, whoever it is. I don't think you're going to slow down either of those guys or stop them completely. I don't think that, again, when people were like, oh, what is he going to do against CeeDee Lamb? I was like, CeeDee's going to get what he's going to get. He just is that guy. He's one of those guys. Same thing with DK Metcalf, same thing with Devontae Adams. So I just think that Mooney's going to be fine. But we do need Mooney to play a game similar to last week in which doesn't matter who's lined up across from him. He needs to lock that side down. And if you decide to pick on the Amador Lenore and the other guys, so be it. But we do need to have that peace of mind. So, again, shout out to your boy.
Yeah, and, it's funny because me and him have a bet going right now. So if the Eagles, well, let me say this. When the Eagles win, he has to come on the channel and sing the Fly Eagles Fly Fight chant. And if you guys, by some miracle are able to beat the Eagles, I have to sing Niner Gang by E40 is what he told me to.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I have to do that live on the channel. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting, man. But Jason, I appreciate your time so much, man. You my dog, man. I appreciate all the work that you put in. Let them know where they can find you and where all your work is.
Well, I appreciate you, Joe, as always, man. I appreciate the kind words, man. You're doing your thing as well, too. Super proud to see your growth. This YouTube thing is something that people see the success, but they don't see the grind, right? Everybody always sees the tip of the iceberg, which is the success, but they don't see where the iceberg is in the water, which is all the things that you had to do. Sometimes we get into this game and we just don't see the instant success, and it's hard to continue to slog through it. And then you finally start to see it and you start to understand the reason. It's just, I'm happy to see you grow, man. I'm happy that your team is doing well as well, too, man. So I appreciate the kind words and the invite. You can follow me on Twitter at JasonAponte2103. My YouTube channel is under Jason Aponte. Same thing with the handles. It's 49er stuff, so I wouldn't expect Philly fans to come on over. If you guys do want to join our chats, I think that's great. We have good banter. And unfortunately the Cowboy fans didn't pop back up after last week. Shocker. But usually if you come through, and whatever, however the game goes, usually you become a guy for us for life, where we put you in our chat Hall of Fame. We have a Detroit Lions fan, we have a Vikings fan, we have a Rams fan that are just their teams are out of it, but they're still on our show. So, if you guys want to check that out, I think we have good banter with all of our 49ers fans. And, I'm looking forward to being a Philly and hopefully not getting pelted with stuff as well, too.
No, you should be. Hopefully there's no snow, then they won't have the snow guys to throw at you. But no, I listen, man, all my Eagles fans, all my subscribers, definitely go over there and show love and talk that talk, even if it's just for this week. A lot of my subscribers like to go to other, they like to go to the opponent and talk that talk throughout the year. So I think that they'll love what you guys got over there, man. But I do appreciate everybody that has tuned in. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. Like I said, please do go support my guy Jason, at least for this week. And then once he loses, you know what I'm saying? Let him know.
Once he loses. So we're not gonna do predictions, Joe? We're not gonna do predictions? We're just gonna let it go?
You want to? You want?
Yeah.
We can do a prediction. How you feeling?
Look, I would not be allowed back in 49er land if I picked the Eagles to win this game. But but I'm gonna put my claim out there. 49ers win this game 24-21. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be absolutely down to the wire. All respect to the Eagles. But I will tell you this. I am picking the 49ers because I am a 49ers fan and they will not. And you know what? I am, 14-3 since I picked them every single week. So my record is not that bad. But again, this game worries me the most. It worries me the most, and for good reason, because the Eagles are an amazing team. So I got to give you guys credit, man.
If I had to pick a score right now, I'd probably say 23-17. I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think towards the end of the game is when you'll really start seeing teams kind of putting up points, because I think the first half is going to be a lot of feeling out. Like I said, we don't really know each other like that. So I think both teams, both offensive coordinators are going to want to not really take it slow, but you're not going to see the huge shots, in my opinion, at least down the field, probably till the second quarter, maybe second half. So I'll say 23-17. Obviously, Philadelphia Eagles winning. Obviously, I had to put
Hey,
that.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. Again, I wouldn't be allowed back in 49er land if I was out here like picking them every single week, and all of a sudden this is the week where I turn it around. No, I'm just hoping for a really good game, and I think it will be. And looking forward. I love Philly as a town, man. I'm looking forward to being in town for this weekend because Philly's such a fun place, man.
Definitely, they'll treat you right, man. They'll treat you right. We're not as.
I think it's about energy. I think it's about energy. I think
as long
if
as
you're
not crazy, yeah.
Right. If you're having fun and you're just rooting for your team, I've never had a problem. I've been to the link. I went last year for week 2. There were no issues, anything like that. I think if you're exuding good energy, you're not being obnoxious and you're not, antagonizing, I think you should be fine. That's it. And again, it's just football.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to go to jail for a football game for a football team that won't bail me out. I got to get home to my wife and my daughter, man. So I can't do that.
I definitely hear that. Well, Philly has a jail right in their stadium, so you won't go too far.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know. Oh, I know the stories.
It's gonna be crazy, but no, they'll be good. I think it'll be fun. As like you said, as long as you aren't out there a Cowboys fan or going too crazy, acting crazy, I think you'll be good. And you're a good dude, so I'm sure a lot of people will probably recognize you, to be honest. So
that'd be cool.
Man, I hope you have fun down there and enjoy watching us win.
Dude. All right, I love how you threw that in too. But you know what's funny too is I remember in week 2 being there, and it was your home opener, and I literally had great conversations with every Eagles fan because at the end of the day, I am a 49er fan, but I am a football fan. So like all of this stuff is like, there's 49er fans that are like, oh, this guy sucks. No, you guys are loaded top to bottom. I admire everything about your team. I admire them, and I don't care what anybody says. I love what your coach does. I love how much fun he has. I'm tired of everybody being buttoned up. This game is hard. It's not easy. When you win, you should be happy. And if you want to shut him up, then beat him. And you know what, Sirianni? Do what you do, bro. I like it. Everybody has different styles. Everybody wants to, celebrate their wins in different ways. I don't care, man. The only question that I have, and this is real, and this is off topic, Joe. I'm a big hip hop fan, and I understand the gravity of dreams and nightmares. I've been everywhere in this country, and that song comes on and everyone loses it. Now, when you think about that in Philly, there was a story that came out that the Dreams and Nightmares song is playing during practice. Everyone is going crazy, and he cuts it off right before the beat drops and the hold up, wait a minute. Sirianni, I have to ask you what you're doing. On top of that, I have to ask you why you're showing your team 8-mile battles.
Yeah.
I just, those are the things that concern me outside of X's and O's, man. Like, if you're listening to Dreams and Nightmares, let that rock, man. Let it rock. Yeah, especially you guys won a Super Bowl with that song in the backdrop. Like, come on, man. Like, that is a moment. That's a moment.
I've learned to just not say anything about Nick Sirianni. Like, Nick Sirianni has done so many. I said this last year. I said he was either going to be the most loved head coach of Philadelphia Eagles history or the most memed head coach. And he's really straddling that line because the things that he says, like, he's called us a flower bed. He's called, there's so many things that Nick Sirianni has done that's just, it straddles the line of like, that's funny, let's go, yeah, hype me up, to like, maybe you shouldn't be doing that, but hey, like you said, have fun, man. He's young. This whole team is young. It seems like they respond to it. So go out there. As long as you win, and I'm not gonna say nothing. Once you start losing, and we're gonna talk. Then
that's it. If you have a problem with Nick Sirianni and his antics, you know how you slow that down? Beat his team, and that's it, exactly. Man. I don't care if you're having fun and you're enjoying. I think he understands how hard it is to win week to week in this league. I think he understands the season that you put together. I would be having a ball if I had a team that won this many games, had a bye week, is on the preface of making the Super Bowl. Like, that's the part that people forget. It's all that buttoned up. Like, it's the same people that get upset when someone crushes a home run and they flip the bat. You know how hard it is to hit a home run? If I hit a home run and I crush the no doubter, I'm gonna cartwheel around the bases because I understand how hard it is. I don't care. And if you got a problem, strike me out the next time you see me.
Exactly. That's all it is. And you guys have the opportunity to strike us out and shut us up for the season. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but it's gonna be a good game. We had a nice little 5-minute back and forth talking our junk. It's gonna get worse over the week.
No, we're good, Joe. Look, I promise you, man. The reason that I go so hard at other teams and like I'm not worried, like I went so hard at the Cowboys, because I know what my team is. This week, you're gonna notice, unless someone says something crazy. Like I already saw somebody post that Jalen Hurts throw to Quez Watkins, and they were like, I can't wait for the link to go crazy after this play. And I'm like, dude, I was at that game. You scored 0 points on that drive. Like, don't say anything that was absolutely wrong, right? And I'm good. Like, for me, I'm going to be pulling back the shit talk because I can't, man, this week, man. You guys are so good. Like, I can't this week. I'm not nearly as confident as I was last week because I know how good you are, and that's just respect to you guys.
Hey, I love it. I love it. Go Birds, man. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna definitely be a good matchup, and I think everybody's gonna enjoy it, man. But I am gonna get out of here. We are gonna get out of here, Jason. Again, I appreciate you so much, man. And everybody, go show him love, man. This dude, one of the first shows to reach out to me and bring me on the show and allow me to really, talk that talk. So I always appreciate him, man. So definitely go show that love. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It's time to get that 16th win. Now we're on 16 wins. It's time to go do that. Go get to the Super Bowl. But y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly. And we are out of here. Peace.
Everywhere. This is for you.
Fly Eagles Fly. On the team. Touchdown. Time to get